What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voice of the culture. I'm your host, Quis, and I'm so happy to be here today with my brother Nell, man. We are back on the pod. We got a fantastic episode. I think this one might go down as probably my favorite episode of all time, and we haven't even finished recording it. It's season 3, episode 41.
Haven't even started recording.
You're right. Season 3, episode 41. You know what it is. Let's get it. Nell, fresh cut? Is that new? Or that's from the wedding? I just saw you. I just seen you.
Yeah, it's from the wedding.
Cut still
I
fresh,
got
then,
I got
still
clippers.
crispy.
I got clippers at home, man. I got clippers at home.
Oh, okay,
so yeah,
okay,
yeah.
my boy. How you
I'll
been,
be lying.
man?
I'll be lying. The fact that you thought this was a fresh cut, that means I'm doing a pretty solid job. So
I was gonna say. It definitely looks like you just hopped up out that chair. I know my boy got a new shop for you and everything.
I got the shout out to my man, my barber Kino, man.
Yeah, man.
I got the razor though, so I got to shape myself up.
What was the occasion? Just going to work?
I just like my shit to look sharp, man.
Gotta be sharp. I mean,
yeah,
hey,
bro. You never know when I might run into the one, so I gotta be ready at all times.
You mean like the guy that wears 2 1s on his jersey?
Let's not go there, man.
You're right. Please. Let's go there. The NBA Finals matchup is close to being set. My New York Knicks. That man that wears the double 1, double uno, took care of business. Another sweep. We won another one just like that one. That's what we got.
Ain't gonna happen.
That's what we got. Before we get into the Knicks, the Cavaliers, man, they made the trade in the middle of the season for James Harden. We know they have Donovan Mitchell, one of the more prolific scorers in the NBA today. I was watching a video about how he's one of the, historically, he's one of the best scorers in playoff history, but he's also one of the most efficient. It was a really interesting video. I watched it this morning. But they got him, they got Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They had gone two straight series to 7, knocked off the number 1 seed in the East. They get here, they take on the Knicks, like I just said, they got swept. How do we view this season for the Cavs, man? Was this a failure? Or, can they take this quarter they have into the next season and take the next step with them?
I'm not going to say it's a total failure, but it's a very disappointing ending to obviously a season where they finally got to new heights, so to speak. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell had never led his team, one of his teams, to the conference finals, whether it's Utah or Cleveland. Cleveland hadn't been in the conference finals since LeBron James had left their franchise back in 2018. So, they made strides. And it's hard for me to say it's a disappointment. You look at a team like the Knicks, who went from losing in first round, second round to conference finals. Now they're in the finals. So, it's baby steps, but at the same time, you look at this Cavs core, and it just feels like they've peaked. And this was in an Eastern Conference where, obviously, they did upset the Detroit Pistons, the number 1 seed. So you got to give them credit for that. But it just feels like the East is going to continue to get better. Obviously, the Pacers are going to come back next year fully healthy. You're still going to have the Knicks. Tatum's going to be, probably closer to 100% next year. So the Celtics are going to be a problem. We'll see what Detroit does, but, they're a team that's going to be, in the thick of things, for the future. So I just feel like unless they make major changes, which it's going to be hard to do, James Harden has a $42 million player option. Whether he opts out, you could possibly lose him. I know he's looking. The reason that he got accepted the trade to Cleveland was, they obviously must have agreed to giving him a long-term contract at the end of the season. What that contract looks like, I don't know. It's kind of what happened with him in Philly and Daryl Morey. He, was promised a lucrative max extension. He wet the bed in Game 7. And the front office got a little scared, and rightfully so, because it's just, that's James Harden's track record. He obviously didn't have a great series, was picked on defensively, wasn't, much of an impact offensively. So, the way they were just dominated and decimated at home in those 2 games, it just doesn't look good. I'm a big fan of Evan Mobley, but I just feel like he's not being put in positions to be as effective as he can. I don't see him as a pick and pop guy, and I feel like that's mainly just what he's doing in Cleveland. Jared Allen played pretty well. He has some big game sevens, but it's just hard for me to believe in that core taking that next step and getting to an NBA Finals. James Harden, I question the trade. He's still an elite playmaker. He can score a little bit, but I just don't think he gives you that star power that you need to compete. And obviously, him and Mitchell were picked on defensively. I just don't think that's a championship defensive core, and I don't really know where you can go to improve that team going forward. So, um, we'll see what they do in the offseason, but you know, I, I don't really see Cleveland, maximizing that situation any more than they did this year.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for me to see, a world where this team comes back as is, and it is even favored to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again, right? I mean, I think you said it perfectly. The East is only going to get better. This was a down year for the East, right? That's no secret. No Tatum, no Halliburton, right? Like, that's two of the biggest stars. I mean, even up until this point, like, this Knicks team in the playoffs looks a lot different than what we saw, throughout the entire course of the season, really. But I mean, for the Cavs, you look at it, you talked about Evan Mobley. I mean, with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell on your team, is there really space for an Evan Mobley to grow into what, some people think he can really be, right? I mean, defensively, he's probably the best guy they've got. As far as versatility, rebounding, blocking shots, whatever the case. But I mean, it seems like there's always a little bit something left to be desired. And I think a lot of that comes down to Donovan Mitchell, right? A lot of it comes down to James Harden. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is I talked about it at the beginning, a guy that, he can light it up with the best of them, but he's not really making players better around him, right? His assist numbers are still leave a lot to be desired. James Harden, I mean, he had I think 1 or 2 games in this series against the Knicks where he just didn't I think the last game he didn't even shoot in the fourth quarter or in the second half. Like, it was something crazy. Like, that you can't win with that as your best guys. And back to Mobley, I mean, he had that game, what was it, game 2 or game 3, where he had 14 in the first half and then didn't get nothing else the rest of the game. Like, the team is that, like, looking at the roster and then seeing something like that is kind of like, well, who's scoring, right? Like, if it's not James, if it's not Donovan. I mean, Jared Allen has some good moments, but I think, I think the Cavs have had some opportunities to make some moves for their roster, and they've made some decisions, in these past years that kind of leave them in this point where it's kind of just no man's land. And, to think about a season as a failure, it's hard to say that because, like you said, like, they knocked off the #1 seed. I mean, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. History would suggest that they might have the next chance to win it, right? Because I think the last 4 years, the loser of the ECF has gone to the finals out of the East. But I mean, you hear that, and then you hear Kenny Atkinson on the chopping block, right? Like, that was the first report after the game. Oh no, his job is safe. Well, it's like, those conversations only happen if there's a collective amount of people that think something went wrong, right? And if you really think that the Cavs had a chance, I mean, so be it. But you also don't make trades for James Harden in the middle of the season with the idea that you aren't going for it, right? You don't make that trade if you don't think you can realistically come out of the East and really win. And to go out there and to get swept like you did, I mean, that's a tough, that's a hurt piece for the Cavs. That sends you back to the drawing board, and it wipes away. Both game sevens are already gone, right? Those series are out of the window now. We're now analyzing you on the level of the team that is the team to beat now, right? Because the Knicks have made it to the ECF. They're now the team to beat. And if we're getting swept by this team, we're non-competitive outside of what was it, 40 minutes in game 1, right? Like, after that, it was all she wrote for them, right? So definitely tough for the Cavs. Definitely going to need to see where they go. They're going to have to make a move. Will it be James Harden? Will it be Donovan Mitchell? What's it going to be? We see
Could
it's
they
not
be
going
in
to
the
be Kenny
Giannis
Atkinson.
sweepstakes?
I mean, they should be. Like, why not, right? Like, why not? But
LeBron
then again,
sweepstakes?
we talking about maximizing Evan Mobley, right? If you get into those sweepstakes, Evan Mobley's probably not staying home, right? You not.
I don't think that's a problem if I'm
I mean,
if I'm a
no,
Cavs
that's fine.
fan.
That's fine, right? That's fine. If you can go out there, if you can get Harden or
That's an
not Harden,
upgrade for sure.
if you can get Giannis or you can get LeBron to come in as your guy next, as another guy next to James and Donovan, I'd probably prefer to be Giannis over LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But at this point in their careers, but I mean, yeah, we'll see.
I think for
Um,
me, the biggest issue with them is defensively as a backcourt. It was one of my biggest problems with the Sixers when Harden was here, Harden and Maxey. I just feel like that's an easy backcourt to pick on defensively. And we saw it again here in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's an easy backcourt to pick on if you have the offensive talent to go at them. So, I mean, we've seen it in these playoffs. Your teams have to have pretty much no weaknesses 1 through 5.
yeah,
And if they
it
do
has
have
to
a
be.
weakness, you better have a plan to cover that up.
Yeah, right. A lot of it is just Dean Wade guarding. Like you gotta put your 6'10" wing shooter as your main, defender at the point of attack because your two guards cannot hold up. And it's like not they can't hold up. James Harden was, like you said, getting picked on. Like just straight picked on. Kenny Atkinson tried to defend him as much as he could, but I mean, like you saying, if your backcourt is gonna be two volume guys that don't defend, they better make a lot of shots. you got to make a lot of shots. And I mean, what we see is teams are defending them pretty well. Like, I mean, the Knicks took them guys out of the series. So, I mean, you got to give your hat, tip your hat to my Knicks, of course. Cavs back to the drawing board. I mean,
Glad I'm not wearing a hat.
yeah, I mean,
If I was, I wouldn't tip it.
I'll tip it twice for you, man. Enough of the Cavs, man. Enough of the Cavs. We didn't get on here to talk about the Cavs. We didn't get on here to talk about the Cavs. That wasn't the talk of the town. That's not the talk of the life. Talk of the city, talk of the world right now. The New York Knickerbockers have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 1999. Knicks ain't won a championship since the 70s.
They made the East Conference Finals last year.
Okay, right. The finals, excuse me. You're right, Mr. Smarty Pants. My bad. I got ahead of myself. Too excited. Knicks haven't made the finals since 1999. All right. So here we are, man. It's all eyes are pointing to the Knicks right now. Jalen Brunson is a key cog in that ignition. ECF MVP. Conversations are being had now. Has he surpassed this guy? Where's he ranked all-time Knick? Is he top 3? Is he top 2? As a Knick fan, he can't be one yet. He ain't passed my boy Walt Clyde. Most Knick fans also got my boy Willis Reed up there too. Willis Reed has some of the more legendary moments in Knicks history, also a champion, right? Then there's the guy 3-3, Pat Ewing. That's probably where conversations are starting right now. Patrick Ewing didn't win a championship as a Knick. However, one of the most accomplished Knicks was the guy on that team that went, you know. Has Brunson overtaken him as has he overtaken him as a Knick with this finals run?
I'm gonna say, um, if he wins the championship, I think you can firmly place him at number 2.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think obviously longevity that we expect from him if he continues this run for another 2 to 3 years. And you bring a championship here. I think that's easily number 1. You look at his playoff resume. You can attest all his scoring statistics. I mean, it seems like he is 30 almost every playoff game.
You want me to
For
read him?
guys, I don't, but you can
Oh,
go
okay.
off if you want
No,
to.
you good. You good. You good. I just asked him.
But for a guy as small as he is, and to dominate offensively, the way he does, get to his spots and score, the way he took over the end of game 1, just the way he's just dominated and been steady this entire postseason, and really the last couple of postseasons, really since he got to New York. I'll be honest, I when they gave him that contract, I thought it was overpaid. I thought, they just got a solid guard that, wasn't going to really take them anywhere or change life for them. Boy, was I wrong, because, I mean, he changed everything for the Knicks. Hats off to him for, really changing the culture. Got to give him credit for, taking a discount, taking less money, so the team is able to build a championship roster and continue to compete year in and year out. So, he's done a lot of things in that city that has warranted these discussions. I think he finished top 5 in MVP voting a couple times. But I still think for right now, I think it's still Pat Ewing. You look at all the numbers, all the franchise leaders, like he's top of the leaderboards for all that. I know he doesn't have a championship. Obviously, he's not a lot of greats don't have championships when you played in the era of Michael Jordan.
That's
And,
true.
you know, then he had to
That's
run
true.
into Hakeem, who, you know, took those 2 years when Jordan was off. So, I mean, you look at just to run off some of these stats that he leads the Knicks in: games, minutes played, field goals, field goal attempts, 2-point field goals, free throws, free throw attempts, rebounds, steals, blocks, fouls, blocks per games, like win
Yeah.
shares, defensive win shares, points. Like, I mean, he's all over it. I mean, he was the New York Knicks in those '90s. So I still think he holds that number one spot, but Brunson is for sure right on his tail if he wins the championship. I mean, who can argue that he's not
Yeah.
the greatest Knick of all time?
Yeah. The if Jalen Brunson and the Knicks win a championship this year, you're gonna have to give it to him. I mean, you said it. I mean, just off of what this means to the city, right? Like just off of what this means to New York. I mean, we we were watching Shane Larkin play point guard. We were watching Jose Calderon play point guard. I was watching Pablo Prigioni play point guard. I was watching over the hill Raymond Felton thinking that was a shot, that we had a shot. I'm watching over the hill Jason Kidd thinking we got a shot. I'm watching Langston Galloway thinking we got a shot. I didn't think we had a shot with him. Alonzo Trier was the best player on the Knicks roster at one point in time, Mel. Like, these are real crazy. Like, there were very, 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 very dark days. Like, so I saw somebody, they were talking about how Mike Brown needs to be, he needs to be given, a Hall of Fame resume already, because in his career, he made the Kings good for a year, and he took the Knicks to the finals. Two things that most people in the NBA community would have never in their life expected to happen, right? But a lot of this, like we said, is Jalen Brunson, what he's done, leads the league in playoff points since he's become a Knick, right? I mean, clutch points, the leadership ability, and then just how he carries himself, man. A championship all but gives it to him, right? If he doesn't win a championship, though, the longevity, right? Like you said, if he's a Knick for 3 to 5 more years and he's on this same pathway, I mean, it's gonna be hard to top him. It's gonna be hard to top him. I'm not ready to give him the keys just yet as the best Knick, but like I said, and like you said as well, he win this championship, it's gonna be hard as hell to think that he's not getting a statue erected somewhere near the Garden very, very soon. Because that just how much that's going to mean to the Knicks. I mean, this is a guy that, Becky Hammond said couldn't be your 1A, right? Your 1A couldn't take you to the finals. 1A, he couldn't do it. Too small. He done did it. You said it yourself. I looked at the signing. It's just a regular signing. Why are people so excited about Jalen Brunson? He's a backup for Luka Doncic. He's 6'1". That man been a winner at every level. National champion at the high school level, 2-time national champion at the college level, Naismith Player of the Year at the college level, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and NBA Finals MVP, NBA Finals champion will be the next thing next to Jalen Brunson's name. And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. So I'm going to just go into this next one. I'm not sleeping on my Knicks. But it's time, because now the conversation is real. We at game 6 with the Thunder now. Thunder Spurs series. Realistically, can these Knicks dethrone either of these teams? Or are you still asleep? Come on.
I'm sleeping.
Come on.
I'm sleeping.
No, come on. What
I'm
more do you
sleeping.
want from me? 2 straight sweeps. This is the
Look,
best offense in the NBA right now. You are the stats guy. The best. They top
and
the only 3 teams.
I ran off the stats. I told you that teams are like 1-5 or something like that when they get to the conference finals, and they had to play first 2 rounds, 7 games. So I mean, it's not an excuse. Like, you still got to play who's in front of
read
you.
me a stat that team traditionally wins game 1 after too many days of rest, and we saw how that ended.
Well, it was trending in the right direction for about, like you said, 40 minutes. It was trending in the right direction. But tired legs. Obviously, the Knicks were just a better team. They have been on an absolute heater offensively and defensively. The way they have just destroyed teams the last 11 games, I, I'm not tipping my cap to them, but I
You already
give
said
credit where
hats
credit
off,
is
and
due.
you don't have your
I
hat
give
on.
I give credit where credit is due. Any team that gets to an NBA Finals, you had to put the work in, regardless of who you played, how you did it. You did it, and they did it in dominating fashion. I think this was like the greatest, 11 game differential in history. Um,
11 straight.
so, but I will say we already knew this East was weak. It's been a topic all season. You didn't get to play the top two seeds in the East. You played the 4 seed and you played the 7 seed.
We played who in
Okay.
front of us.
Yeah, look, I don't doubt that at all. But now we're talking about the NBA Finals. I can give you credit for getting to the NBA Finals. You beat who you had to beat. You did what
Okay.
you did. But now, when you get to the finals, now we're gonna play a real basketball team. Now we playing a real basketball team. We're gonna play a team that actually plays some defense. Okay. Um, Bottom 5 teams in defensive rate in this postseason: the Suns, Hawks, Sixers, Blazers, Cavs.
Mm.
And guess who are the Knicks opponents? All the teams in the
Oh,
East that I named.
yeah.
Okay. Now, if you just want to say, hey, that's just because they played the Knicks, that's why the defensive rating was so bad, they ran into a juggernaut offensively. Cool.
I
If you
might
want to go
be
to the regular
honest.
season, opponents' points per game, Sixers were 19th, Hawks were 17th, Cavs were 15th. So
Middle of the road.
didn't play shit. Sixers and Hawks ain't middle of the road. They passed that. So it's not like they faced any juggernaut defensively. I'm not saying that Boston or Detroit would have, taken care of business, but it wouldn't have been sweeps at, in a historic margin of victory. I'll say that. Defensive rate in the regular season, Sixers 17, Cavs 15th, Hawks 10th. So I mean, they do have that, but young team, we knew that was fool's gold going into the postseason. I say
Mm.
that to say you possibly playing the Spurs, you possibly playing OKC, teams that some of the best defensive teams in the league. Obviously, they got the star talent to possibly to match the Knicks. I'm now when I say this, I'm not saying that Knicks will get to the finals, they'll get swept, they'll lose in 5. I could see them. I could see them beating the Spurs. I could see them going 7 with OKC. I mean, hell, the Pacers went 7 with OKC last year, and most people expected that to be a sweep. And I wouldn't say that Pacers team is better than this Knicks team, even though they pretty much beat the same exact team. But I think this Knicks team is deeper. Give Mike Brown a lot of credit. I was critical of the Tom Thibodeau firing. Didn't think it was necessary, but give Mike Brown credit. The changes that he's implemented certainly have helped and take them to another level. But I just feel like we are finally about to see what the Knicks are really about. We're about to see them actually play some real competition. Now, if they get the job done, there's nothing I can say. I think the Spurs and I said on record that the Spurs and the Thunder was the NBA Finals. So if the Knicks were to get that win, I'll eat my words, and they deserve all the praise in the world. But there's nobody to attack on OKC. More so OKC than the Spurs. Obviously, we know the Knicks beat them in the play-in championship, the NBA Cup, and beat them at home in another game. Seems like a good enough matchup for that team in New York. OKC, especially if they get AJ Mitchell healthy, if they get Jalen Williams back in the lineup, I don't think there's a lot to attack there to pick on the way they picked on a Maxey and Embiid, VJ, Harden, Donovan Mitchell. I don't think there's a lot of mismatches on the court for them to exploit. Not to say the way they're shooting the ball, the way they're flowing offensively, it's not to say that they're just going to get locked down, but I think it's going to be a much tougher matchup. I think them not having to face the OKC, which I think they'll win the series. We'll talk about that later. not having to guard a 7'4" demigod, I think will take a lot of pressure off of them. Um, so I like OKC if they can hold on and win this series. If it's the Spurs, I think it's more of a coin flip. But I'm rocking with whoever comes out the West. I'm standing on that.
I mean, as you should. You should stand on that. I mean, I like what you said. I wouldn't say that much of that was incorrect. I mean, I like that you kind of, I was going to mention, a lot of people doubted the Pacers team, and we can say that they were maybe a Halliburton injury away from
Okay.
losing that. Um, you know, the Knicks fared pretty well against the Spurs in the regular season. Obviously, this is not the regular season at all. This is a different Spurs team. This is a different Knicks team. I admit, and I've said on record, I don't really like playing the Thunder. Right? I've seen that story before. I've seen Thunder games where Shea gets hurt in the middle of it, sits out, comes back with 3 minutes and games us. Right? I've seen that. And I realized like everything you're saying is true, right? We've played some pretty lackluster defensive teams, but at the end of the day, my main thing is that the Celtics had an opportunity to beat the Sixers. They didn't. They also definitely didn't sweep them. And the Cavs went to 7 with 2 teams. They didn't get swept until they played the Knicks. So it's just like for me, I'm like, that's where I defer from people because the method of victory means something, right? Like outside of game 1, the Knicks Cavs didn't even belong on the floor with them, right? And that's just taking care of business. We're talking about professional sports, right? Some of the best teams in NBA history won't just sweeping people through the playoffs. Now,
Do
some
matchups
did.
not matter though?
I mean, they matter, but at the same time, does momentum?
Are you
Does
sweeping Boston or Detroit in the fashion that you swept Philly and Cleveland?
I guess we'll never know.
We won't. But give me your opinion. What do you think?
I think the Pistons would have got swept. Yes,
Okay.
I think we would have swept the Pistons. Obviously, that Celtic series, I think we probably go 6, just off the strength. That's just Knicks Boston, but I definitely think the Pistons would have got swept. I think they would have got swept. I don't see them scoring points on us defensively. I'm not. There's everybody's better than Jalen Brunson till it's time to be better than Jalen Brunson. There's never a moment in my life going into a game, and even if it's OKC, even if it's San Antonio, well, it's got to be one of the two, right? Even if it's OKC, with the depth that they have, the defense that they play, the style that they play, I still think I trust Jalen Brunson to be Jalen Brunson in that moment. Now, the rest of it comes down to the other guys, which is a big part of this, right? The Knicks, the Tom Thibodeau Knicks, fell victim to playing Brunson hero ball 99.9% of the game. That's going to get you swept against the Thunder, right? You can't do that. The Knicks switching their offense to run through Cat is going to come down to how he plays. It's going to come down to Mikal Bridges playing like the guy that he's been playing like, right? I mean, Mikal Bridges is playing out of his mind. Josh Hart playing out of his mind. Landry Shamet playing out of his mind. I recognize, like you said, like, Matt, the Thunder or the Spurs will be the best team the Knicks have faced, period. By far, bar none. And I don't expect, the Knicks will not sweep either of these teams, right? That's not going to happen. I don't think either of these series ends in less than 6. But I do think there's a recipe for the Knicks to win. I think the Knicks have enough defensively to be able to, throw different things at either of these teams, right? And it comes down to a guy named OG Anunoby, who I think if you play the Spurs, I think he gets a lot of work with Wemby, right? We've seen the Thunder employ Caruso. We've seen him historically. If J-Dub was healthy, they'd probably throw him out there. We've seen him go with the other Jalen Williams, right? OG, same type of player, much bigger. Second team all defense, should have been first team, but I'll speak on that at another time. I like him there. If we play the Thunder, realistically, he going to get some minutes on Shea, right? I think it'll probably be Mikal's job at the start. But between those two guys, can they make it hard? And I think in the playoffs, man, I'm not going to lie, like, I'm kind of mad on Shea as a playoff performer right now. Like he's had some moments. He's got a chip. But the Thunder is those other guys, man. It's always about those other guys. And I do think this Knicks roster has played enough lineups that we can go out there and throw different things at them. I think Mike Brown, different a different coach than Tom Thibodeau in the sense of I think he's willing to try some things. I think he's done more trying and experimenting, and I do think the rest will help. I mean, at the end of the day, not putting that wear and tear on your body, it means something, right? I mean, we saw it that Cavs series. We tried to people tried to fight it all they could, but at the end of the day, you just played 2 game 7s against some physical teams. Like that stuff weighs on you, right? The only winner out of this Spurs Thunder series continuing is the Knicks. I mean, at the end of the day, if this goes to 7, they got what? It'll be what's today? Wednesday, so they'll play Thursday, Saturday. Game 1 of the finals is June 3rd, so they probably get what 3-4 days off. The Knicks get to watch these games as a team, game plan, come up with some good stuff. I don't see why not, man. I really don't see why not. It's the finals. You know, the Garden is going to be electric, right? That's going to be nasty. That's going to be nasty coming in there trying to play in the Garden. If the Spurs were to win, would the Knicks get home court? No, right? Because we
No,
third
there's no
seed.
no.
That doesn't exist. How does
The
that work?
Spurs won 60 games, so
So
they
they would. So
will.
they would. So we're gonna be
You
game
starting on
7
the
is
road
not
no
gonna
matter
be in the
what.
Garden regardless. Okay, bet.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, I trust in Jalen Brunson and I trust Mike Brown and the guys, man. It's gonna come down to Cat. It's gonna come down to OG. If Cat can give us something offensively and OG can show why he should have been first team all defense, I don't see why the Knicks can't beat either of these teams in 6 or 7. Truly,
I mean, it feels like destiny.
it does.
It,
It
it's
does.
it's
It's gonna
trending in
hurt
that
if we don't. It's
direction.
gonna
It's
suck.
it's
It's
reminded
gonna
me a
hurt.
lot of the 2018 Eagles run where I was so sure that they would continue losing, and they played some banged up teams, and then got to the Super Bowl, played Tom Brady and the Patriots, and seemed like with Nick Foles as your starting quarterback, it seems like there's just no way that they can actually get the job done. But they had played so well leading up to that, and it when you get on a roll like that and you start to truly believe that you can go ahead and finish the job, and everyone's buying into what's happening. I mean, anything can happen at that point. At the end of the day, you got to lace them up and get on that field, on that court, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, man, I like that, man. The season of destiny. It feels all too real. It just feels right. It's gonna be a real hurt piece if the Knicks,
It
who haven't
feels fake
seen
as
this.
hell.
Nah, it doesn't. It looks very real to me. It looks real, feels real. I woke up, I'm pinching myself. We still playing. I mean, I told y'all this would happen, but let me humble myself. We still got
If you told
to
me the
see who we
top
gonna
two
play.
seeds would get knocked out, I'd tell you it was going to happen too.
Hey, man. Again, we ain't have too much control over that. We would have played either of them just the same. Just the same, just the same. So I mean, let's look on the other side, man. I mean, Game 5, right? Thunder Spurs just finished up. Last night. Series was 2-2. It's now 3-2 Thunder. Momentum seems to be swinging. What's your reaction to Game 5, and do you think there'll be a Game 7?
I want to say there will be a game 7. Uh, Wimby just seems like the type to fight back and make sure that he doesn't go out sad. But I'm starting to like the Thunder, possibly in game 6. Regardless, I do think they'll win a game 7 at home. Um, I hopefully J Dub can play one of the 2 games, or AJ Mitchell can come back, 'cause they're for sure going to need those guys in the finals. But I think the Spurs showed their youth in game 5. I think they showed why you got to crawl before you can walk. We've seen it all throughout NBA history. Outside of what Magic, and I think I may be missing one other person. Um, you you got to learn how to win. And I think you saw that in Game 5. There was an opportunity there. You've already won a game on the road in OKC. Not an easy environment to win in at all. SGA, he said he had one of the worst first quarters that he's ever had in his entire career. Didn't get off to a good start. Jared McCain didn't get off to a good start in that first half. Um, Obviously, you had AJ Mitchell out. You had Jalen Williams out. So I mean, there was an opportunity there for them to come in and try to take a command and lead, and have an elimination game at home in Game 6. Wemby didn't have his best game at all. Uh, Struggled to get him, into his spots. And like I said, with these bigs these days, I just have a hard time watching them operate so much on the perimeter. I was watching some LeBron James, I think it was 2016 or 2018 playoff highlights, and that man was in the post so much, just getting just easy shots. And you see it when Wemby, gets 2 feet in the paint. The defense has to collapse. And I mean, obviously he's 7'4", his wingspan. He can, just lay the ball up over anybody or, kick it out and, find an open teammate. It's just crazy to me how much he has to try to create on the perimeter. And I think it's a disadvantage. Obviously, them putting Hartenstein on him has helped. That's been a huge, you know, adjustment for OKC in this postseason. Um, but Fox looks, I know he's dealing with the ankle sprain, but he hasn't looked good. Castle had a pretty good game. Champagne finally showed up and knocked down some threes, but really couldn't get anything going in the second half offensively. So they're gonna have to figure something out for Game 6. So that's why I feel like OKC has kind of figured them out. But anything can happen. We've seen plenty of times teams go on the road and get bombarded. All of a sudden, the role players start knocking down shots. Like I said, I expect Wemby to have a bounce back game. But if he comes out and he doesn't set the tone in the first quarter, and he can't get to the rim, he can't get easy looks. I think we can see OKC closing it out in Game 6. I
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong because I want 7 of these. I would love to see Game 7 between these two juggernauts. But yeah, gotta just have to find a way to get Wemby the ball in positions where he can attack and use his size and his length. Just you got Caruso on you and you're just floating around the 3-point line. To me, I just don't understand that. Even if you I does Wemby have a post game? I don't think I've ever seen him in the post. Like I don't think I've ever seen him like post up, do a jump hook, do a drop step. Everything is at the triple threat position, face up, off the dribble, try to tween you and get to the rim. Why I don't understand why the post game is dead.
Yeah,
Somebody
it's
at
weird.
that size should be able to take advantage. I mean, we saw the spectacular 40-20 game in Game 1, and I just thought that was just going to be something that we were just going to see throughout the entire series. I thought OKC was really going to struggle guarding him, but you bail the defense out every time. You just chill out on the perimeter. He's rolling to the rim from like the 3-point line, and obviously guys are chipping and shoving and holding and grabbing. It's not been an easy series for him to get off since Game 1. Give the Thunder credit for all their adjustments, but if the Spurs want to win this series, they've got to find ways to get Wemby some easy baskets. They got to get him started early. And just going forward, as progression for him. I mean, I said the same thing about Anthony Edwards. And I think it would do well for Wemby too. Got to get a post game. Got to be able to have your back to the basket and get some easy baskets, whether it's for you or for your teammates, because there's no way that if you post up in that painted area, like Shaq, like Wilt, like Kareem, like all the greats, that you will not draw attention and get your teammates open looks. He said it after, was it Game 3, that, he was struggling to make his teammates better. One way to think your teammates better, get your big ass in the paint. Because the defense will have no choice but to collapse on you.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's my one real qualm with the Spurs, and I mean, obviously, I mean, you said it, it's maturity. It's that youthfulness shows so off. It's like they get their head, they'll lose. Then the next game they go do exactly what we were like. Why didn't you do that last game, right? And then the next game they go right back to doing what they were doing before, right? Between Castle turning the ball over, Wemby settling for threes. I mean, you're getting great minutes out of Champagny. You got Keldon kind of on and off depending on his mood. But either way, like you just watch him, and even throughout games, like it's just like, I think last game we were talking about it in the chat, like there was a couple minutes where Wemby comes back in the game because the Thunder were on a run, but then Wemby just stood around the 3-point line. He didn't get the ball. He didn't ask for the ball. Then they come out of timeout. In the first play, they get him a post up touch at the top of the key or at the free throw line. But like you said, I mean, from there he goes, one dribble, two dribble, try to get to the rim, whatever. But either way, like you have a 7'5", 7'6" demigod on your team. In what world does it make sense he doesn't touch the ball every single possession, right? And I think that's where me and you kind of get, we get upset with some sports, right? Because some stuff is just so easy. It's just simple. Like,
We have made the game a lot harder
yeah,
as we
absolutely.
evolve. And,
Absolutely.
evolution's a part of it. Guys are going to add to their bag. But at the end of the day, man, game's about a bucket. And
Yeah.
getting easy buckets
Yeah.
is the best way for you to win basketball games.
Man, throw the analytics
Sustain runs. It's just crazy.
throw the analytics out the window. The analytics ain't got no analyzing for a 7'5" demigod. The computer can't register what that is. At the end of the day, if we was on 2K and you was a 7'5" and there won't no 7'5s on the court, I'm sure that we would all look at you every single time. If you was 7'5" and we was hooping, or just 7 feet and everybody else 6'4" or 6'5" or 6'2", like, it makes sense to give the 7-foot guy a touch, right? You talked about it, making Wemby better. Wemby post up, throw it in there, see if they double team. If they don't, they leaving a shorter man one-on-one with a guy who is quite literally, people, he's looking over into the rim, right? Like, he's so tall he can see over into the rim. If he jumps, if he's at the rim and he leaps. I mean, we see some of Wemby's plays where he's just flying across the court, getting crazy tip ins and stuff because he's just that big. It's just like it seems like the Spurs make it too hard for themselves. And I know OKC's a great team, and you said it, they're physical as hell. Wemby's still small. He like
Getting away with a
mass.
lot, too.
Yeah, no, and they are. And I'll say even in game 5, that stretch where they had the goaltend and then my man trying to get the timeout off and the review and all that happened, like, I get it. Lou Dort diving at people's legs, I get it. Hardenstein punching on you. That's why we got Wemby out here delivering hits. They had to put the bad boys in there. Big Bismack and Mason Plumlee to come in there and be like, look, man, y'all ain't gonna keep hitting my boy like that. You know what I'm saying? So I fully expect the Spurs to come out in game 6 and make a statement, right? I mean, we're gonna see, you know, what championship level they really have, right? I mean, the Thunder are a team that they've been here before. They got to show me that they can close them out. I'm confident, yes. They go to game 7 and they got to go back to OKC. I get it. I hope it goes 7. But OKC needs to not play that game because then it's 3-3 game 7 and that 7-5 demigod is in the right mindset today. What the hell are you gonna do? what the hell are you gonna do, right? And that's what we hope. That's what I expect. Game 5 was what it was. We kind of figured out like this series just seems like it's gonna be a you get one, I get one, you get one, I get one type of thing. I would love to see the Spurs put two good ones together. I would love to even see the Thunder put a really good game on film, right? I feel like they've been kind of iffy, but they pulling it out. So at the end of the day, you'll take it how you can. But definitely a fun series, man. Definitely fun, and I'm hopeful that it'll go down to 7. Hope for my Knicks that it goes down to 7, and let them boys get beat up a little more. Some more hamstrings get a little sore, some ankles get a little sore. At this point, I'll take this Knicks championship however I gotta get it. You feel me? Like, it really don't
I
matter to me.
respect it.
It really don't matter to me. To wrap this thing up, man, we got some All NBA honors that have hit the pipeline, man. I got them here for you, so I'll just kind of go through and you can let me know what you think. First team, pretty obvious, right? I think we had what? Wemby. We had where my thumbs go? There we go. Shea. What? Goddamn. Shea, Cade, Luka, Wemby, Jokic. Any problems with that 5? I mean, I think that's pretty.
That's just 35. I can't really be too upset with that one.
I mean, I know some people did want Kawhi on there, right? I
For
think some
first
people.
team,
There were people that wanted Kawhi on there. There were some people I saw they wanted Jalen Brown to maybe get there, but I mean, this 5 is gonna be hard to really say any of them over. And then when the NBA did the thing with the votes and made sure my boy Cade was still eligible, you knew he was getting in there. I mean, these are the 5. I mean, these are 5 of the best players in the league right here. I mean, that's pretty good 5.
It's hard to argue that one.
That's a pretty good 5.
I would have,
Um,
put Jalen Brown first team, but
yeah, I was
I
gonna say
understand
I could see some people saying Jalen Brown right as well. So I mean, looking at the second team, another pretty good mob: Jalen Brown, Jalen Brunson, KD, Kawhi, Donovan Mitchell. You like the Don being in there?
it's okay.
It's gonna be hard to argue. He averaging like 28.
Yeah. He's got the numbers for it.
Yeah, he got the numbers.
I mean, we got to remember you've had Ant wasn't eligible.
Yep.
Um, Forgot who else wasn't
We said
eligible.
Book missed by a game.
Book was a game short. Um,
Obviously, Jason
yes, I
Tatum was
mean,
out all year. Halliburton was out. Those are 2 names that are usually floating around that first, second, third team. Um, Embiid didn't play much of the year again, obviously. I think a lot of the conversation starts and ends with the third team, right? I mean, third team is when it
for
gets
sure.
real interesting. And first of all, shout out to all these guys. I mean, I ain't gonna say, whatever, but Jalen Duren, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Johnson, Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray. I'm gonna just go out here and say it. Karl Anthony Towns had more points, more rebounds, more assists than both Jalen Duren and Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Duren, they played for the number 1 seed in the respective. There it is. Yes, sir. I like that. Yeah, yeah.
Something
I,
new for y'all.
I saw you cooking up over there, low key. I didn't know what you was doing though. I see. That's smooth. So we got the All NBA third team up here, right, folks? We can see it. I think, I was saying Cat. I probably would have, figured he'd be on that list. I mean, he was All NBA third team last season, right? And I guess like his points might have been up a little bit more, but Cat was more all around this season. I mean, his assist numbers were great, rebound numbers were fantastic. He averaged a double.
See,
I mean, is there anybody else?
here's the thing about NBA and the voting process and the media. While I certainly agree with you that Cat probably should have been third team, but for sure over Chet. I'm not like the biggest fan of Chet as, the star player that, people claim he is or will be. Certainly not, too big on Doran. Like I've been saying for months, I wouldn't give him a max contract if I'm the Pistons. I understand the market and, the way the NBA goes. Probably going to have to pay him what he is now that he's on third team. It's even more money that you're going to have to dish out for him. But you look at Cat's numbers last year versus this year, they were kind of down across the board. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he had a worse season. Um, you talked about his playmaking this year. That has been a huge impact on this team and how they've gotten to the finals and, made this turnaround. Um, but, media will look at that and say, well, he's having a down year. If he averaged 24 and 11 last year and now he's down to 20 and 12 or 20 and 10, like how can we justify putting him on All NBA when you look at Chet and Duran, who are, averaging career highs? They made their first All-Star team. Their teams are number 1 in their conference. But
Yeah,
if you
Cats
ask
had
me, the
time to
reason their
breathe.
teams were number 1 in the conference was because of their number 1 options, Kate Cunningham, and he missed a bunch of games too. So you still got to give the Pistons credit for that. But that was more of a team effort. And then obviously you look at OKC, Shea's back-to-back MVP. Um, the depth that they have, their team is ridiculous. I just don't think much is required from those players for their teams to be where they were this year, as much as Cat's importance to the Knicks is, they don't make this run without him. They're not a
Absolutely.
3 seed in the East without him. I think you take Chet away, you replace Chet in OKC. I think that team is still a contender. Maybe, obviously I think he's a great defensive player. I'm not saying that they're necessarily better without him, but I don't think life changes much without him in the lineup. I think
Yeah,
life changes a lot without Cat in New York, and that's a big reason that I would have had him on All NBA third team over those two.
yeah. I always have these are regular season awards, right? I always find it interesting those. They come out at the end of the year. Year's over, right? Like most of these guys are done playing. Duran gets All NBA third team coming off of that slop of a playoffs that we just watched, right? Chet, I mean, you know how I feel about Chet. I think he just always leaves something to be desired. He's similar to Evan Mobley. I think they damn near might have came out in the same class, right? Like Chet, cool. And even watching Chet, even just in the game 5, I think he had one play where he caught the ball, ripped through, got to him, got an and one. I was like, well, goddamn, if it's that easy, why? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you do that? Um, but I mean, I get it. It is what it is. And NBA is very political as well, right? Like you said, the All Stars, the young, they got to usher in the new young generation, the new generation of bigs, right? I mean, Chet made All NBA first team defense, and then he gets number one in the West. So hey, we can stick him on third team because he's close to averaging a double double. The whole nine. Like it, I guess you want to complement that one seed team and that 1A guy with their second guy, right? You want to reward them. I mean, even looking at, I mean, I think Jamal Murray had a hell of a year. I think he deserved it 1,000%. But there was a lot of years I think Jamal Murray really deserved it to go alongside Jokic and he didn't get nothing. But, you know what I'm
I think
saying?
this year especially, I think he averaged a career high in points.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah,
was
he
always
deserved it.
flirting around that
Mm-hmm.
18 to 20 range. He'd be coasting, and then obviously you get to the playoffs, and he's been previous years he was like one of the best playoff risers in the NBA. Jokic had missed some time, and he really held it down and kept them afloat. So I think she made his first All-Star team this year. So this year was definitely
Yeah.
worthy of him making it.
Yeah, definitely a big year for him. So I mean, I think it's just with the bigs, but I feel like the NBA is so weird with bigs in the first place, right? Like they either overstate them, right, and then you see 3 bigs on All NBA first team defense, and people are like, "Well, damn, if you just gonna put all the bigs, what the wings gonna do, right?" Or we look at the All-Star game, we look at how do we categorize who gets in, and we want the 5 man to be in there, but the 5 man's kind of obsolete now, and true bigs are this. Like Duran's not a big that can stretch the floor, right? He's just a big, strong, athletic big. He rebounds, he sets good screens, he gets putbacks. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. The NBA is in a weird spot. You could there's so many guards in the NBA that are just so good, right? There's not as many bigs, and I know you've been pretty. I mean, you're the big man guy around here, right? Like you've been waiting for that return of the big, and it's kind of not there. But it is what it is, man. Cat, we gonna get ours the hard way. What better way than to fuel my guy for the finals than to have to see him potentially play Chet, who just stole that money on from you, Cat. I'm watching. We keeping up. Um,
And Cat, and speaking of Cat, these last couple of years, I remember when he first came into the league, lit the NBA on fire. I think he's
oh
averaging
yeah,
25 and 12 his second year. Looked like he was going to be, you know, what Embiid and Jokic was fighting for MVPs those couple of years. And you look at it the last couple of years, took out Jokic in the second round and comes over to New York, takes out Embiid, conference finals the last 3 years, now in the NBA finals. Gotta give him a lot of credit. He's been very successful the last couple of years, taking out some of the best bigs in the league
yeah,
at his position. That's I mean when he hangs it up, I mean that's something that he can hold on to. I mean he took the only 2 bigs that have won MVP in this era. Like he took them out in the playoffs. So
yeah.
um, he's building up a nice little resume for himself over the past couple of years. So shout out to the big
Hey,
bodega.
hey, man. Shout out to the big bodega, big purr. We gonna need every. I
I
ain't
just
gonna
wish they
say
would
it
stop
though.
interviewing him after quarters. I'm so tired. I'm so sick and tired of him trying to, he's clip
Yeah,
farming. He's clip
yeah.
farming,
He
yo,
be
and I'm
doing what he
sick of it.
doing.
He doing that thing with his voice, and I just can't stand it.
Changes the voice. He be he tries to he's very well media trained. The cat's very smart. Uh, so when he talks, it's hilarious. Like I I like that they do that in games, but I'm also like if I was hooping, like well, like don't bother me right now. Like get out of my face. But
Just
hey
be
man,
authentic. Drop no dunk.
shout shout out the
Nope,
cat.
we gave up too many points. Gotta be better. Like, all right, man, just like go ahead, yo. Just go back to the bench. I'm sick of you.
Hey man, shout
Y'all
out
up
my boy
30, and
Cat,
you
man.
sitting here trying to sound like Kobe. Drops not finished.
It's not. It's not. Somebody got to channel it. You know what? You know what? Shoes that boy 11 wear. Yeah, he gonna get his own PE soon, real soon. He might. You lucky, y'all lucky. He like wearing Kobe's. All I'm gonna say is, if the Knicks win the finals, 2 for 2 family, you all will have seen all of my teams win in our time here. We need to do a special and
You can do
recap.
it by yourself.
That'd be fine. I'm gonna come in here. I'm a hire a very smooth engineer that can clip up all my stuff from when I came in here after all my teams have won. You guys saw Michigan basketball this year. You're gonna see Knicks basketball this year, God willing. Michigan basketball and Knicks basketball in the same year is crazy. First of all, you saw the Bucks back when it was just me and Walt. Back when Nell was Sixers brawling, and he would just pop up here and there. You saw Michigan football, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? We on here chatting it up again. So all I'm saying is this is my final Infinity Stone for me to be the biggest, best
We haven't
super
seen the
fan.
Yankees.
I was gonna leave them out for a reason. We're gonna leave them out for a reason. We're gonna leave them out for a reason. We won't even cover baseball on here for real, so we won't even gotta do that. We won't even gotta do that. Couldn't tell you. I know you don't watch baseball, so we're just gonna leave this alone. But hey,
I
it
watch
might
the
be there
playoffs.
year
That's about
two.
it.
It might be there. It might be there year two. I mean, the Yankees. The worst part is that the Yankees are the only team that I
Not with
have
the
that's
Dodgers
like.
floating around.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And baseball's not even fair. Like, you can just pay whoever you want. I'm actually surprised the Yankees don't have more good players. It's all right. Whatever. We ain't got to talk about you. Don't shoot me down like that. My Infinity Stones are good, right? The Yankees, I saw them be competitive when I was a
I'm still waiting for my
youngin.
first stone.
That's all right. At the end of the day, every man gets his stones,
Not this one.
one way or another. But hey, man, we're going to wrap it up. We almost hitting an hour, man. It was good talk. The NBA Finals are upon us. Next week at this time, we'll be previewing the finals, man. And Lord, I don't know how many more times I'm going to be able to get on here and be sober, because I know this finals is about to hurt me, y'all. And I want to be able to watch it. But I know a lot of people praying on my downfall. And those that know, I like to shoot first before I get shot at. So for anybody that's going to have to talk to me in the next couple of weeks, Nell, you are included. I apologize now, because I'm going to be, as my boy Michael Beasley said, I sharpen the sword for the sake of it being sharp. So if any of y'all have anything to say about my Knicks moving forward, just know that the sword is very sharp. That's going to do it for this episode of 2 for 2, man. It's season 3, episode 41. The New York Knicks are motherfucking back, man. And I'm going to be in New York one of these days. You might catch me on a light pole if we win, man. Keep showing love to us each and every day. We're going to keep doing this pod for you guys each week, man. It's season 3, episode 41. You know where to find us on all platforms at 2 for 2 Pod. You can find us on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Music, YouTube. I said all platforms. Y'all want me to say it again? But that's going to do it, man. Quis Knicks, you know what we doing. We out of here.